climbing uphill, Daddy, climbing uphill. I'm up every morning at 6 and standing in line with 200 girls who are younger and thinner than me, who have already been to the gym. I'm waiting 5 hours in line and watching the girls just coming and going in dresses that look just like this, till my number is finally called. When I walk in the room, there's a table of men, always men, usually gay, who've been sitting like I have and listening all day to 200 girls belting as high as they can. I am a good person. I'm an attractive person. I am a talented person. Grant me grace.
Hey, Cathy! Hey, what are you doing right now? No, listen. There's a bar across the street from Elise's office, and I want you to come by. Well, I'm at Elise's office right now. Look, I just came by to check something. Look, are you doing anything right now? Because I really want to tell you in person, Cathy. Well, if you're not doing anything, then just come on down. I'm with Elise because she's the editor of my book, Cathy. I came here to talk to her about my book. Do this right now? What I wanted to tell you is that there's a review out, a very good review, and it's going to be in the New Yorker next week, and it's by John Updike, and I thought that you might want to see that! Well, yes, I can bring it home with me, I just wanted to. Okay, no, I'm leaving right now. I'll be there about 30 minutes, okay? It's fine, I know. It's fine. I love you too. You ready?
I will not be the girl stuck at home in the burbs with the baby, the dog, and the garden of herbs. I will not be the girl in the sensible shoes, pushing burgers and beer nuts and missing the clues. I will not be the girl who gets asked how it feels to be trotting along at the genius's heels. I will not be the girl who requires a man to get by. And when
touched the wall and decided he had had enough. He was exhausted, first of all, and he could feel it. His lungs were throbbing and heavy, and his shoulder was stinging from the left arm right down to his wrist. Besides that, 7 laps in and the water was still freezing cold. And if he wanted to be honest about it, he felt foolish. A ghost, pale, graceless thing flapping about frantically, desperately trying to keep pace with the mermaid in the next lane. She was at least half a lap ahead of him, though he hadn't been able to keep track of her all the while he was swimming. Every time he tried to find her while he was catching a breath, she'd be completely out of range. But he could see her now that he was grabbing onto the side of the pool. He watched her back stretching, watched how she seemed to ride the water. Her arm came up over her ear and slid under the surface soundlessly, effortlessly. Now she touched the opposite wall and was headed back towards him, and he watched as she changed her stroke, her head coming up and then submerging again in a burst of energy. He could see the shape of her face under her goggles, sense the curve of her breast as she pushed up into the air. She didn't seem particularly familiar at that moment. He didn't recognize the fierceness in her brow, the tension in her biceps, and the fury in the pumping of her calves. It had never occurred to him that 3 years on he would be learning new things about her. It hit him in that moment that there were so many things he would discover. How her stomach swelled when she was pregnant, for example. Or how the skin around her eyes would wrinkle as the years passed. She touched the wall next to him and pushed off. But she must have sensed something and looked behind her and saw him standing at the wall, one arm hanging off the side, his teeth chattering slightly. She slowed down and turned to face him, a quizzical smile crossing her lips. He smiled back as she pulled the goggles over her cap. Ah, he thought. There she is. I recognize her now. He would spend the rest of the day trying to determine what was driving her silence, her clenched jaw, her sharp turns away from him. "You don't have to let me win!" she was screaming. But he couldn't hear her at all.